Hi, my name is Sean Lawrence Mausisa, a student from STEM Medical 2, and this will be my video presentation. Our lesson for today will be about human reproduction and development, a teaching presentation. This is presented to you by me, Sean Lawrence Mausisa. Let's start. Our topic coverage will be the human life cycle, human reproduction, male reproductive system, the female reproductive system, spermatogenesis, oogenesis, fertilization, and last but not the least is human development. Now, the human life cycle. What is a human life cycle? Well, a human life cycle is a series of changes that occur in human beings and involves a time period for different stages of life. As you can see here, this is a human life cycle. It starts with fertilization, which is just a union of the sperm and egg cells. And when they become one, the result will be a zygote. And that zygote will become an embryo. The embryo will continue to develop until it becomes a fetus. In the 9th month of pregnancy or gestation, the baby is ready to be born. And after birth, the babies with an age of 0 to 1 year old are considered infants. As you can see here, these are infants. After the infancy period, the individual reaches the childhood stage that covers the ages from 1 to 12 years old. As you can see here, following childhood is the adolescent stage. The individual is prepared into adulthood through the process of puberty, which is the period where adolescents reach sexual maturity and become capable of reproduction. Adulthood is when they mature both sexually and behaviorally. And elderly is the final stage, where humans are nearing their life expectancy. Next is the human reproduction. Human reproduction is exclusively sexual, which means it involves both the production of sex cells or gametes and their fusion during fertilization. Two of these events, which which I just said before, are necessary to ensure the zygote will be formed and that it has the complete set of genetic instructions needed to eventually grow into an adult individual. Moving on is the male reproductive system. It is located in the pelvic region and consists of different structures that help produce and convey male gametes. The structures are the testis, which is the primary reproductive glands, the scrotum, an abdomen pouch that contains the testes and also helps maintain a temperature for the sperm production, the vas deferens, where the sperm exits during ejaculation, the urethra, which is a tube where urine leaves the body. We also have the seminal vesicle, which contributes to 60% of the semen count and protects sperm cells from traces of urine. The prostate glands, which contribute to 30% of semen volume. They help neutralize the pH of semen and vaginal fluids. We also have the bulboretal glands, which produces a lubricating fluid that aids in sexual intercourse. And last but not the least is the penis, which consists of nerves that aids in erection and forceful expulsion of the semen. Here is a picture of the male reproductive system. As you can see, here is the testis, the urethra, the penis, the bladder, the seminal vesicle, and the prostate gland. Moving on is the female reproductive system. It is also located in the pelvic region. Its main structures are the ovary, which is its primary reproductive structure, the fallopian tube, which catch the eggs during ovulation, the fimbriae, which are finger-like appendages that help the fallopian tube. We also have the uterus, which can be called the womb, because it nourishes the developing fetus. And then the vagina, which receives the sperm during sexual intercourse, and the cervix, found between the vagina and uterus. It helps to prevent the entry of foreign materials, as well as the clitoris, which functions for sexual stimulation. And here we have a diagram of the female reproductive system. As you can see, the fembrae, the vagina, the cervix, the uterus, the ovary, and the fallopian tube. Moving on, we have spermatogenesis, which refers to a process of sperm production and development in males. This process occurs in the seminiferous tubules of the testis, which contain cells that develop into sperm cells. The entire process of spermatogenesis takes about 65 to 75 days and can be divided into four major stages. Note, spermatogenesis is only for males. It begins during puberty, and the four stages are proliferation, growth, maturation, and differentiation. Now for oogenesis. This refers to a process of egg cell production and development in females. Also contains four stages, which are the same as spermatogenesis, and it starts when the female is still in her mother's womb. Note that the ovary contains two layers, namely the cortex and the medulla. The cortex is the outer layer and serves as a primary site for oogenesis. Now for fertilization. As I said before, this refers to the fusion of the sperm and egg cells that allow the formation of a diploid zygote. But of course, there are problems when more than one sperm is able to enter the egg cell. To prevent this, we have the fast block mechanism, which is accomplished by changing the electrical charge within the membrane of the egg cell, as well as the slow block mechanism, which requires the cortical granule reaction to facilitate the formation of the fertilization membrane or the thickened vitelline membrane. But if this fails and more than one sperm is able to enter the egg cell, the cell will enter apoptosis or programmed cell death. And finally, for our final topic, human development. After fertilization, the fertilized egg will travel into the uterus, where it will be implanted. This stage refers to the pre-implantation embryonic development. During the second week of human development in the uterus, the implanted embryonic cells start to organize into layers and form the extraembroic brains, namely the amnion, the yolk sac, the allantois, and the chorion. You can see here. Moving on. The process of organ formation or organogenesis starts in the third week after fertilization. In the fourth week, the eyes, arms, and legs are becoming more prominent, as you can see in the image here. The embryo also starts to increase in size due to active tissue and organ development, which is because of organogenesis. During the 8 and 9 weeks, the external genitalia or reproductive organs are starting to form. Thus, at this point, the phenotypic sex of the developing embryo can be predicted through ultrasonic imaging or ultrasound. This part covers the embryonic period of human development. At the onset of the ninth week, the individual enters the fetal period, where further active organ formation will happen. This spans from 9th to 38th week of pregnancy. The formation of different organs happens simultaneously, and the fetus starts to become more similar to a fully formed actual baby. Also note that the first organ to be formed will the first organ to start to be formed will be the brain, and it is also the last organ to fully form. Thank you, and I hope you learned something today.